Welcome back to DVC Weekly. This is episode 77. My name is Jason Rippelding. I'm the broker of Buy and Sell DVC. As always, I'm here with Scott Varioli.
I'm the owner of DVC-Rental.com and BuyAndSellDVC.com.
And today is July 27th, 2022. Your 11-month window for your home resort is going to be June 27th, 2023. And the 7-month window is going to be February 27th, 2023. As always, of course, you can find us here on YouTube. We have the Buy and Sell DVC channel, the DVC-Rental channel, Facebook groups, Instagram, TikTok. Twitter, TikTok. So you can find us anywhere, and you can reach us via phone or email if you have any rental or sale needs. And we're going to start today with DVC Rental.
I get to start today.
I think Scott has some more information on Disneyland.
Yep, there seemed to be a bunch of interest and questions from the Disneyland stuff that we did. So again, we're doing with part 2 of the quick observations from Disneyland Park. There are lots of off-site hotels within a mile or so walk, which is much different than obviously Disney World. Disney World, you've only got really, walking to Magic Kingdom, you've got Grand Floridian and you've got Bay Lake Tower / Contemporary. Epcot, walking distance, you've got Boardwalk and Beach Club. So and then there's not a lot of stuff off-site at all. There's downtown Disney resorts where there's a Hilton, DoubleTree and stuff that you can walk over, but there's nothing else near the parks. And really, really, really nice at Disneyland. And again, I'm sure Walt Disney didn't want this. He was expecting to buy this land and then have everything pop up around it. But there's a lot of off-site hotels and a lot of restaurants nearby. And I've stayed at Disneyland Hotel before and Grand Californian on my last trip, which was 6 years ago. This time we stayed at a Best Western, which is again about a mile walk from Disneyland. Much less expensive than the Disneyland hotels. So a lot of really nice options that are off-site nearby, much less expensive.
I mean, you say a mile. Did you guys walk there, or was there a shuttle?
They offered a shuttle. I believe it was like $8 per day round trip, but we didn't take it. We just walked.
Okay.
Which added to some of those like 8 or 9 miles of walking every single day. If you cut through Grand Californian, it took off a little bit of the time. So it just depended which way you went and everything. But it was a good amount of walking, and it does add up, but it wasn't too bad of a walk, and it was pleasant. Lots of palm trees, and palm trees were lit up at night and stuff. So,
and you never had to get a stroller fee or anything?
No.
Okay.
Number 2 on my list, the kids meals at Disneyland are an absolute joke. They are horrible. You've gone to Disney World. I'm sure you've bought your kids meals before. Like my son's been eating cheeseburgers a lot, and when we get the kids meal cheeseburger, it's one slider about that big. Like they have a restaurant called Pim's Test Kitchen there, where they joke around. It's based on like Ant-Man and them like growing food to crazy sizes. They use a tiny little slider bun, and they put like a big piece of chicken on there, so it looks like they grew this chicken on this giant thing. That's the same buns that they use for the kids' burgers. It's one small like the size of a White Castle slider. That's the kids' meal. Our friends ordered.
You just get one.
One. Our friends ordered chicken tenders. It came with one tender. I mean, it's
that a California thing? Or?
It's not a Disney World thing. It's a Disneyland / California thing. Kids meal, same exact price, like $10 for a kids meal. Comes with one slider, and that's it. I mean, it was embarrassing, and I was like a couple of restaurants, which Blue Bayou. We ate at Blue Bayou. The waitress beforehand, she said, "Listen, luckily Blue Bayou was like our 4th dinner there, our 3rd dinner there, so we knew what to expect." But she's like, "I want to warn you that the kids' meals are pathetic." She's like, "So some people they'll get a big meal for their kids and they'll split it, but just she wanted to warn us, like, just so you know, they're bad." And they were absolutely horrible. I mean, they're so tiny. It was sad. So
that's crazy.
You would figure that it would be similar to Disney World, right, but not at all. So just kids meals are horrible. If you're able to avoid it, don't buy your kids the kids meals because they're a joke. Prices for the meals, I would say, are all probably around $2 to $3 more than Walt Disney World. For everything in everything in California is more expensive. Gas is more expensive. But just something to know that, like, not like snacks and stuff, but any meal that you go, okay, this is probably $25 in Walt Disney World. Figure it's going to be $27, $28 there. So everything's just a little bit more expensive as well, and you get less food. Now, this is an interesting one, and Jason and I kind of spoke about this beforehand. The cast members in California are definitely not as good as the ones in Disney World. The rules, I think, are bent more, a lot more tattoos, facial piercings. The cast members, we were there for 7 days, 7 nights actually, and we were at the parks and actually we'll say 7 nights. We were at the parks or downtown Disney. I didn't see a single person who was not from California. And I've said this the last time I did a trip about 6 years ago. I just felt that the cast members aren't as good. Now, don't get me wrong, there were some very good cast members, but on a scale of 1 to 10, where if a normal cast member at Florida, you go, oh, they're probably the way the Disney trains them, how wonderful they go out of their way to help you. They're a 9 out of 10. Maybe they're a 6 or a 7. They might be better than the people at Hot Topic. No offense to Hot Topic, but they're nowhere near the Walt Disney World quality. And they just don't seem as into it, to care as much.
Attentive.
I mean, we went up to was one of the stores in one of the parks, and there was one cast member who was helping a lady, and there was a second cash register there, and I was right there, and there was a cast member just sitting up on the counter, just playing on her phone. And I stood there for probably 20 seconds before she looked up from her phone and was like, oh, okay, how can I help you? I mean, just not your typical cast members. And I don't know, some of it, I feel personally like when people come to Florida, they want to work for Disney. You've got people who are retiring who say, my goal is I want to retire and I want to drive the boats. I want to be a bus driver. I've always wanted to work at Haunted Mansion. And you've got the college program. You've got all these people coming from all over the place that they really want to come work for Disney. Whereas I feel like in California, they're just more along the lines of, it's local. I guess as a backup, I can go work for Disney if I have to. It didn't seem like they were into it.
Going through the motions more?
I thought there were a lot more going through the motions. I'm not saying that most of them were bad. There were a lot of really good cast members, and I'm sure there were some that are absolutely amazing. But a lot of them it was just the overall attitude, like they just weren't as into it. Whereas, maybe a Walt Disney World cast member is smiling and greeting you and just like emotion, like passionate about it. They just didn't seem to have that same passion there. And again, that's not for every cast member. We've dealt with some very, very nice ones, and some, I'm sure, the ones that are really into it. But just on a whole, it just seems like it's run very differently than Walt Disney World. Just my opinion.
This will be an interesting episode to see the comments.
Yeah, I'm about to get flamed. Last one, though, I was going to say the weather in California, super nice. There's I've heard every day down here while I was there, it was rainy and hot and humid. There's no rain there, barely any humidity, 60 degrees in the morning, so nice and cool when you wake up. It got up to like mid 80s during the day, still sunny and hot, and then 60s again at night. I mean, it was just really, really nice. The weather out there was wonderful. And we have somebody who comes and takes care of our dog while we're away, and she kept telling us that every day she came here, it was raining when she showed up, it was hot, and thunderstorms and lightning storms. It was rough. It's Florida, summer down here. California weather was pretty darn nice. So I did enjoy that. And it was really nice to walk outside and go, in the mornings and go, oh, it's 65 degrees out. This is nice.
Did you experience the California marine layer?
I had no idea what the California marine layer was until I spoke to one of our buddies on the trip, Chris Malik, who runs the Dubs group. He mentioned that to me as well. Oh, that's the California marine layer. I was like, what the heck is that? He's like, essentially that's what they call smog in the fancy areas. So apparently it's like the LA smog, and once it gets out to like nice areas, they call it the California marine layer. So essentially it's just like they're like smog layer a little bit. We did witness it. I'd never heard of that term previously until Chris mentioned it to me. So that's all I have.
That wraps up that? Okay.
That wraps up my
and really,
discussion.
it's just a shout out more to the cast members here in Orlando and how awesome they are and how attentive they are and how they're looking to, pixie dust you and give you the ultimate, Disney World vacation
There's
experience.
not a lot of pixie dusting there.
So,
but And again, the cast members were not bad. It's just
it's one of those comparison things. You're used to the cast members here, so you think they'd be similar there.
Disney World cast members, we'll say Disney cast members in general are known to, they go through the training, they go through this. This is how Walt wanted it. Essentially, some of the best customer service experience you can ever witness. And I don't know about what's going on with the training in California, or they have different books, or what's going on, but it just doesn't seem like either they're doing the same training out there, or it's being embraced the same ways as it is here. Definitely, cast members in Florida, absolutely fantastic.
And now we're on to the food review of the week.
Come here, I'm gonna eat you! Get in my belly!
So for my food review, I probably did 8 to 10 hours of research, food snack research, before going to California. So I knew what to expect and some things I wanted to try. The first thing I tried was at the Hungry Bear restaurant in Disneyland. It's a quick service restaurant. They currently offer a peach honey tea slush. And I was hot, and I was like, I was trying to figure out, 'cause again, I made a list of all these things I wanted to try out. And that was the first day, and I was hot, and I was like, I want to get that stupid slushie. I want the slush. So it's topped with honey sweetened peaches and whipped cream. So it's a slushie with peaches, honey, some whipped cream. Super refreshing, nice chunks of peaches in there. Perfect for those warm summer days. Really enjoyed it. Glad it had the whipped cream on top as well. I had forgotten that it came with whipped cream on it. So the cast member was like, would you like whipped cream on it? I was like, why, yes, I do want that. And I realized afterwards it's supposed to come with it. But he gave me the option to not have it if I didn't want it. But I was like, yes, I always want the whipped cream. I give this an 8.9. I would definitely get this again. I kind of wished I had made a second trip over to Hungry Bear, which we didn't, just to get this. But I definitely enjoyed it. And again, super, super refreshing. And I was hot, and it was absolutely wonderful. So definitely 2 thumbs up for the peach honey tea slush.
So I just have one question going back to the kids' meals.
Yes.
So when the kids' meals first arrived, I can understand the adults looking at them and their reaction, but what was the reaction of the kids that received the meals?
The kids immediately, they were not happy. It was my buddy Jeremy's daughter who got the chicken tender, and she was like, what? I only got one. And she was mad. My son saw his cheeseburger when they first put it in front of him. He looked up. He's like, really? I'm like, I was like, I'm with you, buddy. I was not expecting that. As an example, we ate, I mentioned last episode, we had dinner once at Ralph Brennan's Jazz Kitchen, which is in downtown Disney. And that's a restaurant that's not owned by Disney. That's an outside company. And he got, the kids' cheeseburger. And it was a big, juicy cheeseburger. He was like, yes, this is what it's supposed to be like. It seemed like the outside, we ate twice at outside companies not owned by Disney. And both times the kids' meals were normal, great kids' meals. So, yeah, I should specify, don't get the kids' meals at any Disney restaurant. Outside restaurants like Ralph Brennan's, absolutely kids' meals perfectly fine. Nice, nice size stuff. But yeah, they were not happy. As an example, we took one picture that my son's kids' meal, again, showed the slider this big. He's got the carrots next to it, and the little, the little baby carrots, and the baby carrot is bigger than the kids' meal. It's bigger than the burger.
It's just, I don't know why. I'm fascinated with that.
It was shocking. I mean, I was just like, you'd almost think it was a joke. It was like, it looked like something from Pim's Test Kitchen. We're like, oh, you shrunk it down as a joke? It's like, this is the $10 kids meal. My little guy literally.
Am I in
burger was 3 bites. That was his dinner. He had 3 bites of a cheeseburger, and it's not like it's a big thick burger. It's it's a tiny little thin patty, like like a White Castle slider, maybe a little bigger than a White Castle slider, but not much. It's a tiny, $1 burger, and that's their kids' meal. So yeah.
So now we're moving on to the buy and sell DVC portion of the program, and really it has to do with DVC. We're going to touch on
Cast members. We're attacking cast members.
No,
We're
attacking the cast members.
We're not attacking cast members.
There's so many people, continually moving to Florida. I believe the numbers say there's 9,000 people moving to Florida a month. Some say it's 1,500 moving to Florida, or 1,500 moving to Orlando a week.
Oh, okay.
So I have people reaching out to me asking me, because they get curious about moving to Florida, and they ask me questions about where I live. In today's episode, I'm going to share with you the community that I live in, and then in future episodes, Scott is going to touch on his community. So I live in a community in Orlando called Hunters Creek. Hunters Creek is near 417 and John Young Parkway. It's been around, I believe, since 1992. I could be wrong. I have a lot of notes here, so if I talk too long, just you got to cut me off at some point.
Do you have a marine layer?
There's no marine layer in Hunters Creek. Okay. There's no marine layer. So, though I will start with this. If you don't like HOAs, homeowners associations, and you don't have any children, Hunters Creek may not be for you.
Okay.
Because Hunters Creek, one of the things it's known for is it has a very strict HOA. If your grass is too long, if your sidewalk needs to be pressure washed, if you want to paint the color of your house, it's got to be a certain color, everything. And there's a community hall, there's everything's going on, and there's 7 parks in Hunters Creek, so it's there's baseball fields, there's soccer fields, there's tennis courts, pickleball courts, basketball courts, there's horseshoes, there's walking trails, and in some communities where you have these things and it just sits empty, these things are packed all the time. So if you talk to somebody that, there's a gentleman that just graduated from NC State. He's probably under 25, but he just moved to the area in Hunters Creek because of the tennis courts. Then I talked to another guy he moved here with his wife. He moved here from Miami, and he moved there because of the tennis courts.
Those must be some tennis courts.
Well,
people moving from out of state to take advantage of these tennis courts.
I don't know how many communities have, the tennis courts, and they have tennis players, like I say, it's there's basketball going on every day, and in my opinion, the school system is it's a solid school system. For the most part, the schools are rated A or B, and I will tell you this, that there's multiple elementary schools because there's so many residents. So I can't speak for all the elementary schools because I'm only familiar with the one that's, near me. But you have elementary, middle, high school that's solid. I know kids that have gone on to Florida. They're finishing at Florida after, going through the school system. And there's tons of clubs in Hunters Creek. There's, we have our own magazine. Now I realize it's 2022, and some people say, you got to go digital,
You have a magazine. Ooh.
You have a magazine?
Yeah.
No magazine?
No,
and there's, and we have everything. There's runners clubs. I wrote runners club. There's a dog park club. There's senior chair yoga, senior social, sewing angels. There's even band practice if you play an instrument. So
senior chair yoga?
Yeah. And that's full too.
Yeah.
You got to make reservations far in advance for that. So, and I will tell you this, my son is 12. He delivers magazines to a couple of neighborhoods,
Oh.
It's part of, really it's like a rite of passage in Hunters Creek because you meet these kids that are, 18, 20, 21, and, they delivered magazines back, when they were 10 and 11. And then we also, you have to get 100. Do you have to have an ID in your area?
No.
So I will tell you that there's people. So I mentioned all these parks and all these things. So people from outside the community try to come in and play basketball or play tennis. Well, you have to have an ID, and we have security on hand. So you don't have the ID.
Really?
You're going to be asked to leave.
That's interesting.
So, if you have, airport, I have in-laws that are flying in all the time, visiting from Columbus, Ohio. We're close to the airport. They can land and they can text when they've gotten off the plane. You can leave the house then and you'll still be there in time.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't realize you're that close to the airport.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
So let's see, close to the airport. It's, you take 417 to go to Disney the other way. You can get to, Disney Springs in like 20 minutes, Saratoga Springs in 20 minutes. You're close to the Turnpike if you want to go to Miami. You're not too far from 528 if you want to go to Cocoa Beach. Let's see. Oh, there's also a rec center that's indoors that has table tennis, foosball, pool, video games, TV, snacks. Let's see. So I will tell you this, the negatives are, the community's done. The only exception is, I will tell you, we had a golf course in Hunters Creek that it may be ranked in the top 5 worst golf courses in Florida. It was the longest course, and it closed. So now developers come in and bought the golf course.
What is it called?
It was just called Hunters Creek Golf Course.
Okay.
So I don't know what exactly is going to happen with the golf course, if a whole bunch of homes are coming or what. Stay tuned. Oh, and then the other news I forgot to mention was, I'm sure you saw that the Bright Line is not going to go from the airport down to 417 to Disney Springs. It's taken the 528, and I'm not sure where all the stops are. Well,
I know that was supposed to go originally like through your neighborhood.
Yeah, it was going to go through Hunters Creek. And I will tell you that at the Town Hall, Universal Studios, they built a model in there to show how it was going to affect Hunters Creek. And that's why the Hunters Creek residents fought it, because they didn't want it going right by the elementary school. But so the negatives is depending on where you work or where you travel, the traffic outside of Hunters Creek is pretty, I'm going to tell you, so John Young Parkway has basically stayed the same number of lanes for years, but of course new construction keeps going up. I'll just end on this story here. So I have a friend that lives in Kissimmee, which is, if I went to his house on a normal day, like on a Saturday with no traffic, it's like 20 minutes to get there, okay? So I will tell you that he has a house, and he has 4 pickleball courts on his property. He has handball courts. He has indoor handball courts. He has an indoor gym. He has an outdoor gym. He has a pool. He has a shooting range. Like, he has all this stuff, right?
This is on his property?
Yeah.
His house?
Yes.
Not his development.
This is his house.
I need to hang out with this guy.
So of course he invites everybody to play pickleball, right? Well, he has like events like sometimes on Friday night. Well, if I was to, and again, normally it takes like 20 minutes to get there if it's,
Yeah.
If I were to leave my house on a Friday to go to that location, and I were to leave, like let's say his event starts at 7, if I were to leave at 5, I wouldn't get there until like 6:40.
Wow. Okay.
So,
That's a lot of traffic.
Yeah, you don't want to spend, 2 hours of your day in traffic in Orlando.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, I like it. My kids say we're not moving until they at least graduate high school. So, but again, there's no new construction. So if you're looking for new construction, this is probably not the place for you. But if you have kids, you like HOA rules, you don't want your neighbor painting their house bright pink, you might want to check it out if you're moving to Orlando. So we appreciate you watching, and we hope you subscribe, hit the like button, and we hope you come back next week.
Thank you very much for watching. We always appreciate you guys.